February was a long year, but we did it. I have pillows behind me that I'm trying to make like work for my lumbar situation. Well, hello, America. I am on. Alright, listen. Everything on the title and the thumbnail of this video says spoiler. I'm telling you now, before we say anything else, before I even tell you what I'm talking about, that there are going to be spoilers. I am going to spoil an entire 3-book so far series. Okay? Because there's 5 books, but only 3 are out. So I want to talk about some theories that I love, some quotes that I love, scenes that I love, what I was thinking when I saw certain scenes, when I was reading certain scenes. So that's what we will be doing today, and there will be nothing but spoilers. I have to talk about this book and this series in depth, or I'm gonna lose my mind. These books are my babies. Yes, I have dragon claw bookmarks in them. Are they saving a particular page? No, but they belong to this series. So that's where they live. If you'll notice, I have the red cover Christmas special edition. I have the standard edition for Iron Flame, and I have the deluxe edition for Onyx Storm. These are the babies. We need to talk about it in depth. We pick up right where we left off in Iron Flame. Oh, they do that all the time. It's so annoying. Anyways, where Iron Flame takes off, exactly where this picks up. Is it still the same day? No. Now, there's only a select few that know what has happened to Xanon, that he has pulled from the earth and is starting to become Venom. So they have like Sloane, Imogen, Violet, like Garrick, and I believe Bodhi, if I'm remembering correctly. They're all keeping an eye on Xanon. They're all monitoring him. They're all watching him to make sure that he doesn't lose control. Why? You lose control, he accidentally pulls from the earth, he turns more Venom. Now, turning Venom essentially means in this book that you are losing parts of your soul. Jack Barlow knowingly chose to become Venom because he likes it and he's evil, right? Which, by the way, when he came back in Iron Flame, I audibly screamed. There goes the other one. Because what the we can't get a break from this dude. I'm wondering, he has to play a bigger part, right? Like, why are we keeping him alive and not Liam? So we can bring people back now? Miss Liam now. But essentially, we are on the path with Violet to try and find a cure for Xaden. And in the meantime, there's actually more Venom that somehow get in. Jack sort of hints at this. In fact, one of the first major like battle scenes we see in here is Venom that infiltrated. And Jack implies that they have actually been there for a while. So Venom had been walking amongst them and no one sort of knew it. And when I read that, I was like, this kind of makes so much sense. And I have a theory, because this video is all about theories, right? I have a theory that Colonel Atos is Venom. I think that also Violet might be the cure. There's also a quote, I'm looking down at this, there's also a quote that I like from really early on in the book. What did I have delivered? Nothing. Okay, so it's a notification for something else. There's a quote in this book that I really like, which is, pain isn't a competition. And I have dealt with people in my life who have tried to make pain a competition constantly. And it is exhausting. And when I read that quote, I just so resonated with it of like, yes, we can both be in pain. Pain is not a competition. I just love, 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 love that quote. It might be one of my favorite quotes from the book. Also love that we're still having regular classes. So immediately Xaden is given a promotion, right? Oh my god, he's given a promotion. He's become a professor. That means he can't date Violet, which is like such a dirty move, but also like it is so calculated. And I am like really impressed with Rebecca of finding that loophole of like, so he is now Professor Ryerson and he's teaching Signet classes. I really liked this part of the book because it shows like true Signet training and the fact that Xaden is the best one to teach it. I mean, he taught Violet immediately how to block out Taryn, how to channel a bit, and he's probably the strongest channeler in the quadrant, maybe in Vesgaeth, right? Because he's a shadow wielder, so it's kind of implied. The whole time, I'm so glad that we can finally talk about the scene with spoilers, because when they're training Signets and Xaden has Violet come up and they're having like a little mental telepathy, right? And he's like, you have to learn how to fight me in case I become not me, essentially, right? And so they're learning how to train the Signet and he keeps covering her with shadows, and like in the shadows, he's like stealing a kiss here and there. He's like, it's very romantic. It's very like tension. But all I could think during this scene was like, what were the other cadets thinking? Do you know what I mean? There's like first years in there that have bonded, so now they have Signets, so of course they have to train Signets. Bree, Imogen, Garrick, Bodhi. The whole time that's happening, and also they aren't saying a word to each other. Xaden's giving instruction out loud, but they're mentally talking to each other. What were the other students thinking when they saw like these shadows suddenly wrap around her for a very extended period of time? And he was not appearing in the shadows when training went with any of them. Like, were they standing there like, Should we leave? I just thought that that scene was so funny and it was really well written too. But then like as we move on, Violet gets essentially permission from lieutenants, colonels, whoever may be, not without a fight, that she gets to leave and try and find allies for Vizgaiath because the wards are falling, when secretly she's trying to find Andarna's breed and find a cure for Xaden. That's the whole point of actually leaving, but she's putting it under the guise of they need allies. And they do. And she does get some allies. But that's when Prince Halden shows up. Violet's ex-boyfriend. This little we needed to drop him from the basket, essentially. If the dragon would have let go, it wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world. You know what I mean? And to find out how Violet's last relationship ended, because she had talked about in previous books, right? Of like, yes, I've had relationships. Yes, it's not like I've been a nun or anything like that, but we finally see an ex-boyfriend and of why it ended. Holden sleeping with his professor. Hello? Excuse me? And cheating on Violet? By the way, I love jealous Xaden. Can we talk about that for a minute? Because he's not jealous in a way that's like, I think I may have said this in the spoiler-free vlog, but I have dated guys who are like toxically jealous. Like I would get a call from a friend who has like an androgynous name. Like it could be for a guy or a girl, and immediately I'm accused of cheating. By the way, never cheated in my life. Always been accused by somebody who was cheating on me. They will tell on themselves, people. Anyways, so I love the tea of Holden kind of being added to this equation while they're traveling. And of course on the way they find allies. I'm not going to go through the entire book. You still have to read the book. Okay, we're here to discuss theories. So Xaden just like launching Halden, valid. Loved it. Anyways. Okay, so moving along. I want to kind of like jump through the ally thing because there's a lot that happens. So I just want to talk about probably my favorite parts at this point. Now that we've established like the mission, right? So Holden arrives in a basket. I love it. And I love how the guards are like, he can't be arriving in a basket. It's not becoming of a prince. It's like, well, he's professor and cheated on Violet. He gets the basket. I also love that the moment they land in a territory that doesn't belong to Vizgaiath, Xaden's like, so while I'm here, am I her professor? And they're like, no. He goes, so to be clear, I'm not her professor. They're like, no. He goes, okay, bye, and then takes her. He's like, good, back to being my girlfriend. But as they're traveling, right, we see a bunch of different territories. A few horrible things happen, right? Like Holden's guard, gone. I don't ever want to be served anything on a platter again. Xaden loses control a few times, has to take time to recover, and then the part that broke me, right, was when they find Xaden's mother. I think her name is pronounced Talia? Maybe not. Maybe I'm butchering it. I don't know. But we meet Xaden's mother along these travels, right? She left when he was 10 because it was the end of a contract, sort of an arranged marriage situation. And I think I said in the video, Xaden, I feel you, right? And as somebody who is no contact with her mother by my choice, because it's just what's best for me, it hit harder because it's that moment of being an adult and you see your mother and she has decided to have an entirely new family. Doesn't worry about you, doesn't bother to actually like genuinely check in or want to see you. I felt so close to Xaden in that moment when he saw his mother run and hug those two boys on the beach. And it was like, oh, that's why she didn't come back, because she just built an entirely different family. So there was no need to ever try and find him again. And so you're sitting down at this really tense dinner where Xaden is sort of bringing all of this to light, and then she brings out his favorite chocolate cake. It was the last thing I think that she ever made for him on his 10th birthday before she left. What I loved about the scene was Violet putting it together so quickly, of just like her truly just her brain and her knowledge being always her strongest power no matter what signet she has. She really said it would take weeks or months to get chocolate here, which means that they've known that we were coming, which means that this was anticipated, which means that Talia wasn't surprised. She was planning for him to be here. And she finally gets everybody to stop eating the cake except for Garrick. So now, not only is Xaden traumatized by his mother essentially lying to him and seeing his mother not only with a new family, but with new kids, and lying to him, just blatantly lying to him, acting shocked like she didn't know that he was going to be there for weeks when she did. And now her new husband has poisoned that cake that Garrick scarfed down. But what I love about our girl Violet, right? I love that she knew to poison that tea, poison the king and his family, and everybody just starts retching and just getting sick everywhere. I loved that interaction of power of her going, if he goes, they go. Make your decision. Is it your ego? Is it your pride? Is it your wisdom? And she outbested him. Love that Garrick was saved. That just heart drops straight out my ass. I could not believe, I thought that we were going to lose him. And Riddick too, getting through the flight jacket, I held my breath until I learned that he wasn't injured. Oh my god. Rebecca, if you touch a hair on Riddick's head, we will riot. That scene really broke my heart. And then the second one was when they landed in the Isles of basically like, in order for them to be their ally, all they have to do is say thank you to whatever they do to them. So like Dane gets slapped. That was awesome. I loved that. And then we see like they get a cat that is later named Broccoli, and I love that. If I ever get a little orange cat, I might just name it Broccoli. And then things swiftly take a turn when Traeger gets hit by the arrow and has passed on instantly. And that really broke my heart because this whole time Kat's traveling with them, right? And she's reconciling with the fact of like having to explain to people of, no, I was fine with the marriage. Xaden didn't want the marriage. He doesn't want to be with me. He wants to be with Violet. That's the end of the story. And then the whole time they're having this conversation of like Xaden talking to Violet about getting married, and he tells people to draw up contracts that they'll sign them that they're going to be married. And she finally finds somebody who she really likes and sort of sees her. And there's a quote, not in the book, but there's a quote that I saw somewhere that says, "It is only a true man that a strong woman can become gentle around." And I've always related to that as well. I am a very strong, I call myself abrasive, lovingly. I call myself abrasive because I am. I'm a very like direct person, and it rubs a lot of people the wrong way. And I've always been this strong person. I'll continue to be this strong, resilient person. But there is, you know, people in my life, not only a man, but people in my life, like my friends, my dad, if it's somebody I'm seeing, I need to be able to be a softer version of myself. I need to be able to be in a safe space where I don't have to be guarded all the time. And finally, Kat had that in Traeger. She finally had this person that she could be soft around. And in a moment he's taken, and they had to turn around and say thank you, because that was the only way that they were getting the ally. And then a part that wasn't really super heartbreaking in my opinion, but it was just like sad, was Andarna finding the Irids, because we found out her breed is Irid, as an iridescent, explaining to her their entire life story, and because she failed some sort of test she never knew that she was supposed to take, they reject her. Then only to accept her and have her sever the bond between Violet. That did break my heart as well. And I think she explained it well when she said, I think that the reason riders don't live when their dragons pass is because we couldn't deal with the pain of losing them. And I really believe that. I feel like maybe that is why. Maybe it's not a magical time. Maybe it's just this bond that is so pure with love that once they lose it, their heart quite literally breaks in half and they pass. And that's a theory of mine where like I think it really does affect the organ that is the heart, and they pass away of a broken heart. Also during this battle, we almost lose Mira. I won't get into it because it's graphic and I don't want this video to be taken down. Essentially, Brennan tries to heal the wound on her throat. He's just not strong enough. And Dane attempts as well to make it even more powerful in order to heal her, and they do succeed. But why was Dane a little bit attractive during that scene? Maybe the real enemies to lovers of the series is us loving Dane. Maybe that's what it is. Once we get Mira out of there, the great battle happens where you get all of these different POVs. We lose Quinn, RIP. But this great and epic battle happens, and it essentially ends with Xaden fully channeling and fully turning venom. At the end, Violet wakes up and she has an emerald stone on her left hand. She is now married to Xaden, has no recollection of the last 13 hours. He's gone. He's left a note basically saying like, it's yours now. Don't come looking for me. And she looks at Imogen. She says, what did you do? And she said, what you asked me to do. And that's where the book ends, because Rebecca thinks that we're a joke. I was so confused, but now that I've had a few weeks to marinate on it, what a good ending. What a good cliffhanger. So now we're left with this marriage that she can't remember. Everybody's running around still trying to get the guards up. Ben and are still coming. And it's implied that somebody else is turned. We don't know who. So here's where all of my theories begin. Who do we think turned Venom? Let's start there with that theory, because I have a theory also of what the cure is. I think that Brennan turned Venom within those 13 hours. I don't think we saw it happen. I don't think it happened in anything that we saw. I think it happened within those missing 13 hours. Right? Everybody's saying it's Garrick. It very well could be. Bodhi. Very well could be. I really think that it's Brennan. And Violet's just not like how Violet lovingly looks into Xaden's eyes and she can see if it's changing to red and if he's becoming more more venom, she's not gonna look in her brother's eyes that way. She's just glancing around, looking at everybody going, oh my god, what's going on? And I think it's Brennan, because the fear of losing Mira and losing one of his sisters became so great that he decided to turn, so that if and when the time comes, he will sacrifice himself and fully turn in order to channel from the earth to save their lives. That's why I think that. That is my theory on that. Second of all, the cure. I think that Sloane is the cure. Brennan channeled from Sloane. She can sort of just draw this power. And if she can put power into people, what's to say she can't channel power out of people and put it back into the earth? It's kind of insane, I know, but hear me out. My second theory on the cure is I think that Violet's the cure. Whatever it is that turned her hair that color, I know that it was like she didn't get fully initiated into whatever that was when she saw the people with her hair. I think that it has something to do with that. I think that her father left her a hidden message of how to actually cure it. I think that he found a cure. And another theory, I think her father's still alive. I think he's Venom. I think he might have turned Venom. General Sorengale didn't want to explain, hey, your father has become evil. She was like, hey, your father passed. But I think that he is alive, and I think that he himself has turned Venom, but I think he's also, or turning Venom, and he's trying to find a cure. Now for the less serious theories, I think that Dane and Imogen are going to date. I think that they're soulmates. Also, I was a little bit shocked. I didn't get into the signet, but I was a little bit shocked that Violet's signet was being a dream walker when Rebecca said, oh, you've already seen her signet in Iron Flame. I really thought that it was going to be she can see ghosts, or she can communicate beyond the grave, when she had that hallucination of Liam going through torture tactics training or whatever that was called. I really thought that it was going to be that. But the fact that she's a dream walker, I'm wondering how it's going to play into the fourth book and hopefully fight Venom. I'm hoping that she can walk into the Venom's dreams without them knowing, because I wonder if that's where the cure is lying as well. It's just in their minds, and she can sort of rummage through their subconscious while they're asleep. I also don't think that she's pregnant. Like, everybody's theorizing like, oh, she woke up and she's married and pregnant. I don't think she's pregnant. I don't think that we would see an infant in this war. I think that she's just married. Also, in the fourth book, I hope we see more of Broccoli, and Broccoli better make it. If something happens to Broccoli, we write at dawn. I think that's it. I think that's all the theories I have. I just kind of want to sit here and have an open stream of consciousness and talk about it, because February was a really rough month for me. And I wanted to just spill my guts about this, about my favorite parts, my theories, all of the good stuff. So thank you for letting me ramble, and thank you for listening to my ramblings and my theories. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below what you think is going to happen for the next book. Also, let me know what your favorite parts were, what your favorite quotes were, and let me know too which one of these books is your favorite. And I still think it's the first one. I don't know, I just have such a soft spot for the first one. But with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.